Have you ever stopped to think about how a calendar is made? Well, the Jewish calendar is a truly incredible feat of engineering. It's a system that brilliantly weaves together the sun and the moon to solve a huge riddle of timekeeping. And to really get how it works, we have to start with a pretty simple question.
So let's do a little thought experiment. If you had to create a calendar, right now, from nothing, where would you even begin? You really have two main options, right? You could follow the sun, which gives us our seasons, or you could follow the moon, which gives us our months.
And right away, you'd hit a snag. A solar year, the time it takes the Earth to go around the sun, is about 365.25 days. But a lunar year, if you track 12 full cycles of the moon, is only about 354 days. That leaves you with this 11-day gap. It's a math problem that any calendar based on the moon has to solve if it wants to keep up with the seasons.
We're calling this the 11-day problem. But really, it's less of a problem and more of a fascinating puzzle. And honestly, the way the Jewish calendar solves this little puzzle is what makes it so incredibly elegant.
I mean, think about what would happen if you just ignored this 11-day drift. Every single year, your calendar would fall further and further behind. A spring festival like Passover would slowly slide into summer, then into fall, and eventually you'd be celebrating it in the dead of winter. So yeah, you definitely need some kind of correction.
So how does the Jewish calendar start to tackle this? Well, the solution begins with its most basic building blocks, the months themselves. And they're tied directly to the cycles of the moon.
The calendar has 12 months, and here's the key. Each one kicks off with a new moon. That means the months are either 29 or 30 days long, which keeps everything perfectly in sync with the lunar cycle. So for example, you can see here, the month of Nisan roughly lines up with our March and April, while Tishri, the month of Rosh Hashanah, falls around September-October. Okay, so we've got our lunar months sorted, but that still leaves that pesky 11-day problem we talked about. How do we fix that? Well, this is where the real genius of the system kicks in. It's something called a 19-year cycle.
The fix for that 11-day drift is just brilliant. Every so often, the calendar adds an entire extra month, a 13th month, called a leap month. Now, this isn't random at all. It follows a super precise pattern. This leap month gets added 7 times over the course of a 19-year cycle. And it turns out that's just the right amount to perfectly pull the lunar calendar back into sync with the solar seasons. Pretty cool, right?
So we've got the months, and we've got the self-correcting cycle. But that brings up another question you might have. Why is the Jewish year number so high? You know, like 5784. What's the deal with that? Let's take a look at a different way of counting. Well, the answer is all about the starting point. The Jewish calendar counts from what's called Anno Mundi. That's Latin for in the year of the world. It counts forward from the moment that is traditionally held to be the creation of the world. And that starting point was calculated as being 3,760 years and 3 months before the Christian era even started.
And hey, here's a neat little trick for you. If you want to get a rough idea of the current Jewish year, just take our current Gregorian year and add 3759 to it. It's not going to be exact because the Jewish New Year kicks off in the autumn, but it'll get you right in the ballpark.
Okay, so we've covered the how, the incredible mechanics of this calendar. But, you know, a calendar is never just about math. It tells a much deeper story about a culture, its history, and what it really values. You can actually see major historical events embedded right in the names of the months. Before the Babylonian exile, the names were all agricultural. But after that huge world-changing event, new names like Nisan and Iyar were adopted, and they were influenced by the Babylonian calendar. History didn't just happen in those months, it literally renamed them. And that connection to farming was so direct. For example, the month of Abib just meant ear of grain. That was it. It was the month when the grain was ready. Another one, Ziv, meant radiance for the time when desert flowers would bloom. The entire year was marked by the rhythm of the land itself.
But the meaning goes even deeper than history. It gets into some really powerful symbolism. You see, the very way the calendar works became a metaphor. For ancient Israel, the moon, the very heart of their calendar, became a symbol for the nation itself. And the sun, which the moon always has to align with to stay on track, became symbolic of the Messiah. And this is where it all just clicks together beautifully. Think about it. The moon doesn't make any light of its own, right? It only reflects the light of the sun. So the calendar's whole structure, a lunar system that has to constantly adjust itself to stay aligned with the solar cycle, became this powerful picture for Israel's spiritual purpose, to reflect a greater light out into the world.
So in the end, the Jewish calendar is this amazing thing. It's a technical marvel, a living historical record, and a source of deep symbolism, all at once. And that kind of leaves us with a final question to chew on. If a calendar really reflects what a culture values, what does our own modern calendar say about us? Thanks for watching.